Representative Scott, you have a bill that would change gun-free zones, basically conforming them to federal law. Tell us about that and why it's important.
Yeah, well, as it turns out, when President Bill Clinton signed the Gun-Free School Zones Act, there were several exceptions in that act that not every state has held to, and so our state doesn't exactly match that federal law. And with all our concern about the school safety lately and wanting to keep our kids and our teachers safe, I began to look at states where there haven't been any school shootings. I wondered, what are they doing right that we're not doing here, where we have had school shootings in Washington? And so what I found out was that there were several exceptions in that federal law that our state does not currently allow. One of the exceptions is that if you're going through school grounds to hunting property, then you can go ahead and take your gun through the property. One is if you have a gun locked in your car, then that's okay, according to the federal law. And the third one is if you have a concealed carry permit, so in other words, you've already been through the whole background check process and fingerprints and all that, then you can go ahead and carry on school grounds. So that would allow teachers, principals, staff to go ahead and carry if they've already been through that licensing process. So in particular, I've been thinking about what happened in Connecticut. You know, you remember the principal threw herself at the madman to try to stop him, and she sacrificed her life on the behalf of those kids because that was the only weapon that she had to launch at him. What if she had been allowed to carry? The story might have ended differently that day.
Recently, you and your House Republican colleagues proposed a series of rule changes on the House floor. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we came up with a number of what we thought were fairly common sense provisions. One was respecting the will of the people and requiring a 2/3 majority vote in both the House and the Senate in order to pass a higher tax. And that's something that the people have requested 5 times on the initiatives. Another suggestion was to allow at least one bill from each legislator to be heard, to be given a hearing, because we know that good ideas come from rural districts too, not just the big city. A third idea is to fund education first and to stop holding education and schools hostage. It just bugs me when they cut from education, then they find money for other things. So what Fund Education First would do is set up a separate education budget, and we would fund those education dollars first, and then we would tackle the rest of the budget. And then the fourth one was to give citizens preference in the hearings before committees. So in other words, people come from all over the state to come testify on a bill, and we want citizens to be able to speak first on those days, not the lobbyists, not the unions, not these different, groups. Let's let the citizens, who after all, that's who we represent, right? So why not let the citizens speak first?
And how successful was this effort?
Well, unfortunately, the Democrats only liked one of those 4 very good ideas. They did like the idea of letting the citizens testify first, which thrilled me because, in the 39th district, we're so large and people might have to drive 1.5 to 4 hours to get down here. It's pretty much a commitment of your whole day, taking it off work, to come down and testify on a bill that's important to you. So I'm delighted that that one passed.